What are you, 23? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Right here. Here you go.
Oh, we got it. Okay. Rescind.
Okay, we will proceed. Higher education, and first I want to introduce Courtney's on the phone. What's your number down there, Courtney? 15? What are y'all, 15 and 16? 14. What is she? What are you, 15? Yes, sir. Okay. First, I want to introduce Courtney, our analyst. We have our committee aide. Courtney, why don't you introduce yourself and who you are and where you've been and where you're going?
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Courtney Gillum. I am a graduate from the University of West Georgia with a BS in political science. I am currently at John Marshall at Knight for law school, and this is my first year as a policy analyst, but I've been with the state since 2011.
Okay. You can go ahead and move one. For your own.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Soraya Billings, and I am the House of Representative intern for this session, and I am a senior at Kennesaw State University with a major in communications and a minor, in a concentration in media studies.
Okay. Thank you. And they both do a good job. And we'll go ahead and start. We got a hearing on House Bill 763, and we have the author here. Representative Epps, you want to come up to the table here, or you want to stand up? Sit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Make sure I got you on, Representative Epps.
On now.
I think so.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I just basically want to present House Bill 763 to you today in its basic concepts, and but I have with us today Lieutenant General William B. Caldwell, who is the president of Georgia Military College, and then Dr. Mike Holmes, the vice president of academic affairs and dean of faculty, that will join me at the table that might be able to answer any questions or go beyond the depth of my knowledge as to where we're.
You want them to come ahead and join you at the table?
Fine if it's
okay. Yeah, be great.
We also have General Boylan, who for 20 years was president of GMC, and is with us today, but will not join us at the table. But we thank him for his service.
Pull that mic a little bit closer to you, please. And
all right, that fine?
A little bit better.
Hear me now, Dr. Watts?
Okay.
House Bill 763, Mr. Chairman, is a proposed Bachelor of Applied Science degree in supervision and management that we are asking to be considered for Georgia Military College. Georgia Military College is currently empowered by state law to provide educational programs appropriate only to the level of the second year of post-secondary study. This restriction prevents GMC from fully contributing to a consequence of the state's complete college Georgia degree objectives. The goal in that objective is established by Governor Deal, increases the number of college graduates in this state by 250,000 by the year 2010. But in addition to being restricted there, this lack of this program also prevents GMC from offering higher educational opportunities to the underserved Georgia residents who do not have access to a four-year college, but at the same time aspire to improve their earning potential and long-term job security by converting their technical degrees or associate degrees into bachelor degrees or higher. I want to tell you a little bit about GMC. as far as the resource educational system that it provides. GMC is a public authority and a state public higher education resource that really should be used to assist the state in accomplishing its degree completion objectives. In the last 3 years, Georgia Military College has more than doubled its number of annual degree completions in the associate's degree level. So the ability to offer a BAS degree program will allow Georgia Military College to, as we said earlier, to be more competitive and to have an input into the governor's Complete College Georgia initiative. GMC offers value to the educational structure of our state and to the Georgia citizens. It provides a higher education to approximately 8,000 college students who are Georgia residents. But more importantly, these 8,000 are made up of veterans, Georgia Guardsmen, active duty military members and their families within our state. GMC is an open admissions institution, which I find very remarkable. Any student with a high school diploma or equivalent can attend GMC regardless of high school grades or ACT, SAT scores. In fact, ACT and SAT scores are not required for admission to GMC. But it does provide developmental or learning support services, classes in reading, writing, and mathematics. These are important in preparing not yet college-ready students to take college-level courses. Recent initiatives at GMC have significantly improved the performance of these learning support service students in retention and in learning to levels at or above the non-learning support service students. Admission to Georgia Military College's proposed BAS degree program will require that students first complete their AAS degrees at partnering technical college system colleges. Partnering allows GMC to develop a BAS program that will have the maximum transfer courses or credits possible into its program. Their initial plan is for a BAS in supervision and management that would start small. Initially, the program would be offered at the Milledgeville and Warner Robins campuses of GMC, followed by offering the program at their Augusta campus later. GMC will also offer BAS degree programs online. An online program would be very attractive to those students who do not live within commuting distance of a college that offers a BAS degree. With regard to the number of additional full-time faculty that would need to be hired to support the program, one full-time faculty member with a PhD in business management will be required for each campus where the program is offered. Now, GMC surveyed the technical college students in the Middle Georgia area to determine the number of current students that would be interested in enrolling in a BAS degree program at Georgia Military College. This survey found that 2/3 of the respondents, or 385 respondents, indicated an interest in pursuing a BAS degree in management and supervision at Georgia Military College. That would also be added to this technical college student graduates who have already earned their AAS degrees and would like to earn a bachelor degree to meet other objectives, such as being more employable, increase and expand their job opportunities, move up in their respective workplace and work programs, and importantly, to increase their income potential. In meeting these objectives, this program would, as we said earlier, support Georgia in the Complete College Georgia initiative. Students with an AAS degree will have a pathway towards another degree, and importantly, without any cost to our state in establishing this and carrying it forward. That, Mr. Chairman, is an overview of what our attempts are in House Bill 673, and hopefully some background into GMC and the service that it provides for the educational arena in our state.
Okay, General, you want to say anything? Go ahead and do your presentation. And
well, I think the distinguished gentlemen, sir, covered most of the highlights. I'd like, if I could, just talk about a few I think that are relevant, that'd be very informative. So, Mr. Chairman and members, committee members, thank you. If I could just highlight a few things. One is we are a public institution, and therefore it should be expected that we are directly contributing to and are part of Complete College Georgia. And as such, then, we, as we have demonstrated over the past 3 years, as it was mentioned, have doubled the amount of associate degrees that we are awarding out of Georgia military college institutions around the state of Georgia right now. And our intent is to continue to increase that so that by the year 2020, as the governor has asked everyone in the state to do, we want to be a part of that overall effort with the Georgia Region system and, of course, the technical school system and moving towards that goal. 98% of our students are Georgia residents. So we are directly working with the men and young men and women of this state. I think most people know there's 5 historically black colleges here in the state. We would be number 6. Our largest student ethnicity group in our college is African American. We do, in fact, very much provide an opportunity to a segment of this society in Georgia that has been underserved for many years. 43% of our students are African American. And yet what you will find is we are able to take a very disadvantaged group and give them an opportunity by not having any admission standards. You can just say, I want to go, and you go. I want an opportunity, and you're afforded an opportunity. And so we are a key contributor to this overall Complete College Georgia initiative that's going on and want to do more. We have the ability to do it. I believe our track record with the associate degree shows already that if you were in fact paying us as you would one of the state schools, it would be about a savings of $58 million a year to this state. We don't receive $7,000 per student to go to Georgia Military College. We, in fact, operate pretty much almost in many respects when it comes to monetary means as a private school. We pretty much, to spend a dollar, we got to make a dollar, is how we operate. And so in moving forward with this initiative, it will be of no cost to the state of Georgia, nor to the school system of Georgia as we do that. We don't want to compete. We want to complement. We want to be a part of the team effort here in the state of Georgia to give our young men and women the opportunity to make the most that they want to make out of their lives, to give them the greatest possibility to lead a very well-being, successful life. This degree, which is being sought after by the technical schools, will be put into place where currently the degree is not offered anywhere by any other schools. And so we are providing a service that currently does not exist, which would greatly complement, again, Complete College Georgia. We're not asking for any money to do this. We'll do this with our own resources that we currently have within Georgia Military College. I think another key thing is, as we go forward on this, our track record so far has been on this, and it's very important, 65% of our students coming in require remedial training. A very, very large percentage. And yet our success rate in bringing them to a graduate degree of 2 years, an associate's degree, is double the national average in the United States and exceeds the average here in the state of Georgia. So we have a proven track record of helping, and in this case primarily, a very disadvantaged group of this state, giving them opportunities that really don't quite exist with the proven track record that we've established anywhere else. And so we believe we can do the same thing with the Bachelor of Applied Science, a very narrow degree at a very specific location, and it inevitably will target a very specific group of people, mostly African Americans, and giving them that opportunity that they would not otherwise have. The other part of this too is, as you look at this, just alone in Milledgeville, our graduation rate was 41% of every student that comes in. We're at 23% across the state of Georgia. Again, exceeding slightly what is perhaps the state average right now. So I think when you look at what we're asking the opportunity to do on behalf of the people of the state of Georgia, with a proven track record that shows that we can in fact do this, because we want to be a part of a team effort. We want to be a part of making a difference so that in 2020, the additional 250,000 graduates that the governor wants our state to have so that we can compete and have that 60% mark of college degrees or graduates in the state so we can bring in more economic well-being is very, very important. And we're asking for that opportunity to take that on and do that for this state of Georgia.
You know, you got a question here from Representative Sims.
General, first, I'd rather you just yell at me. Usually when I was in front of a general, they yelled at me a lot when I was in the military. I got yelled at a lot. As a real good question, though, do you plan, as part of this degree program, to commission lieutenants at all? I mean, I didn't know how many. Are you commissioning anyone now? I mean, I know you were at one time.
We do. Within the 8,000 students we have approximately across the state, we have 250 in our Corps cadets.
Right.
So the other 7,750 are regular students that wear jeans, flip-flops, whatever they want when they come to class every
Understand.
day. Right now, our intent is to continue just with our 2-year program with the early commissioning program that we have established in the school.
Would this help in any way commission lieutenants?
It could possibly. We had not explored that with Cadet Command or the United States Army at this point.
Okay.
At least that Mike,
I'm always interested in that. I went to Citadel, so I'm always interested in getting more, because our percentage of lieutenants now is down about 30% out of the whole Corps. So it used to be about 75, 80. So I understand where you're coming from. There are not too many folks want to go out there and do that anymore. But for those guys that want to do and girls that want to do that, that's it's always a blessing to know that we got those kind of folks coming along. Don't have any problem with you, Bill. I hope you have great luck with it. I'm for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Representative Watson.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd love for you to break it down. I graduated from one of those other institutions. I don't quite catch the whole concepts, but if I'll apologize for that ahead of time. The GMC is a 2-year college now, and you will be able to offer a 4-year degree with this. Okay, and that's what the proposal is. And you have a 41% graduation rate, which is better than the state average of 23 or so, I think is what you said, or something like that.
Across the state, we have a 23% graduation rate. The state average today is 20%.
And that's a 41% graduation rate from the 2-year program.
And at the Milledgeville campus.
Milledgeville campus.
But we have across the state, we have 6 other campuses, and we have 3 extension centers. So we're operating across the state of Georgia. Some of these campuses have about 1,000, 1,200 people, students attending them. Others, our extension centers have, perhaps 180 to 250 attending them.
So the 41% graduation rate is is a 4-year degree that you're.
I'm sorry. Probably what I should say is the school across the state of Georgia has a 23% graduation rate. At our Milledgeville campus, where we would initially start and bring on this Bachelor of Applied Science degree, we there have a 41% graduation rate in Middle Georgia.
Okay. And just a general question, your graduates go on to do what? What's their?
Our mission, as laid out by the state of Georgia, is to provide a 2-year degree with the intent to be a transfer school for them to go on and attain a 4-year degree in the state of Georgia.
And what's the typical graduate do after they get out of GMC? They go to a 4-year school, and then what's their profession?
Yes, sir. We're a liberal arts institution. So
Sir, repeat your name again.
I'm sorry. Mike Holmes. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs.
Okay, thank you.
Indeed, a faculty. Our students are going through, it's a liberal arts program when they start, so that majors in psychology, history, English, mathematics, any of the standards that you might find. We have 49 degree programs across both the associate in arts and associate in science degree programs. Our students, when they finish their degree at Georgia Military College or before, can transfer to a four-year institution of their choice. We have articulation agreements with a number of colleges and are continuing to work on those articulation agreements so that give our students the advantage to transfer, if you want, to a four-year institution and have most, if not all, of their courses transfer. Does that answer your question?
I guess really, I just want to know what the typical student ends up doing, 6 years after graduation. Are they in the military? Are they varied in the industries or professions? Or so you got to.
I can only have a guess because we do not track our students beyond. We can track our students to the four-year institution, but after they leave the four-year institution, that we no longer have access to that kind of information. Our students, for the most part, out of the 8,000 students, as General Caldwell said, we have 250 cadets. So some part of those cadets might go on to the military, but the remainder of our students are your typical everyday community college students, and some might go on to the military, but most probably go on to, and we hope, and we have a 35% transfer rate, a 23% graduation rate. So that's our success rate combining those two in students completing their goals at Georgia Military College.
Okay, we have Representative Williams wants to ask a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With Representative Chuck Sims, and we'll be good, the Chuck group. Representative Epps, gentlemen, thank you for presenting this to us. The question I've got is, and whoever may want to take a shot at it, feel free. We've talked a lot in this state as it relates to higher education about college affordability and utilization rates of buildings, and I know we've heard within the university system, Chancellor Huckabee talk a lot about, are we running as efficient an operation as we can, and looking at those efficiencies to try to contain cost escalation as it relates to higher education. And my question is as it relates to the issue of affordability and cost, do you have numbers that would basically tell us what it would cost the students on a per whatever hour for this program relative to what their options may be within the existing higher education structure? Is your program going to be more expensive, less expensive, or basically the same as what students already have the opportunity to move into?
Did you get that information?
Well, I think, as you know, we already cost more than a technical school would if you're going to do an associate's degree. I mean, we're not funded by the state of Georgia. We don't get the $7,000 per student, and yet we're incredibly affordable. If you go to the Milledgeville campus and you're taking about 12 credit hours, which would be a normal load a lot of these students take, it'll cost you about $4,800, as compared to what the Complete Georgia College packet says it's about $3,100. Well, that's a good point. No, that's right, Mike. I mean, go ahead.
I just didn't want you to think that that the cost for 12 hours of coursework was $4,800. It's 12 hours is the average what a student may take across the 3 terms at the institution.
So that would be a cost of about $4,800 is what they're paying today. It's compared to about $3,100 in a state school if you were to go do that. But one of the things that is very attractive, at the time that I've been there as president over the last 90 days in the classroom with students, is they tell me they really couldn't get anywhere else because it's not open admissions across the state. And so this gives them that ability. They know that all our class sizes are extremely small. We don't run large auditorium type instruction. It's all very small classroom sizes. They also realize that we offer free tutoring throughout the entire time that they're attending school with us. So for any course at all that they need additional help or assistance in, we provide them with free tutoring to help them in that respect. And then a key part is they also find that the interaction with the teachers, because of the small class sizes, affords them that ability to have a real dialogue and discussion about what next. What you find a lot of times, you know, we, like other institutions, we've got about a 38% first time ever going to college kid that walks in, and so he or she isn't necessarily had the ability at home to talk to somebody about, well, when you go get your associate's degree, this is what you do next. And so that interaction with the teachers, the faculty, becomes really very, very important for our students, so they can have that kind of dialogue to figure out what is next in their lives. Those in our cadet program, the 250 of them, is slightly different take. Most come in knowing they want to serve. I mean, you can, you know, I think, as I understand the statistics, we provide the largest number of second lieutenants to the National Guard here in the state of Georgia out of our commissioning source there at GMC, out of those 250 cadets. So, you know, that's a pretty viable path a lot of them take. But for the other 7,750 students, with about almost 40% being first time ever in college, that interaction becomes important.
Okay, any other questions? Representative Holcomb, I know you're running in and out. Do you have any questions?
No, Mr. Chair, I read this before.
Okay, good. Okay, thank y'all for being here, and I think we have a sign-up sheet, and I think Tom Daniel from Regent signed up to speak, so you want to speak at that mic, Tom? Okay. You should be on.
All right, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Tom Daniel. I work for the University System of Georgia. I'm honored to have with me today Dr. Houston Davis, who's our Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Academic Officer, and I will also ask that he deliver some brief comments more on the academic nature of this bill. We have the highest degree of respect for Representative Elps. I do want you to know that he and I have worked on numerous important initiatives before, and when he introduced this bill, we met with him and expressed some of our concerns. We from the university system are in a very unique situation today in that we are having to come to you with some of our concerns about the wishes of the Georgia Military College. As they pointed out to you, they are a public institution. They do receive money from you, but they are the only entity that is considered a public institution that's outside the jurisdiction of the University System of Georgia. So when other campuses within the 31 units of the system want to offer new degrees or new programs, the Board of Regents, in essence, referees those fights and makes the decision. But Dr. Davis and I are here in this situation today having to do it this method. I do need to point out to you that the Georgia Military College does offer a campus in Augusta, which is the home of the Georgia Regents University. They have a campus in Augusta, which is a home of Georgia Regents. We also have one in Columbus, home of Columbus State University. Faribault in South Fulton County, which is covered by Georgia State and Clayton State. Milledgeville, which is the home of Georgia College. Valdosta, the home of Valdosta State. Warner Robins, which is part of the Middle Georgia State College. And 3 extension centers in Madison, Sandersville, and Stone Mountain. Madison, as you know, very close to UGA. Sandersville, close to Georgia College. Stone Mountain, numerous students from there go to Georgia State University as well as Georgia Gwinnett. We've worked very diligently in the university system to be efficient and effective of state resources. And as everyone, as you all know, because you're on the you're responsible for the budget, Georgia College does receive an appropriation from the state. So if according to their information today, they're not seeking any money for this new programming, that needs to be expressly written into the legislation. I would ask or suggest or let us know that that's their understanding. For those brief background, if you would, if I may have Dr. Davis talk to you a little bit about our relationships with the technical colleges and what we've been doing there on our Complete College Georgia initiative, then we'll be glad to respond to any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Houston Davis, Executive Vice Chancellor and Chief Academic Officer of the University System of Georgia. Thank you for giving me a brief moment. One thing I will also point out, I appreciate Tom's opening comments. One thing to remember about Complete College Georgia is it's not just bachelor's degrees that are valued. One of the things that we're really placing an emphasis on, it's both certificates, associate degrees, in complementary fashion to bachelor's degrees. All of that counts in terms of degree completion. There are concerns that a number of our campuses have. From a single institution standpoint, you certainly may be aware, the University of North Georgia, concerned about a second publicly funded senior military institution in the state. Then Tom did a great job of outlining some of the concerns about potential for duplication of effort at the bachelor's level in a number of other communities. And I think in an era where we're talking about consolidation, you certainly have heard Chancellor Huckabee talk about trying to find efficiencies. We know that on a scarce state dollar that we cannot be all things to all people, that we need to be thinking about how our multiple tiers of institutions, both in the university system as well as the technical college system, meet the needs of the state. We think running counter to those goals of efficiency and streamlining is this creation of another bachelor's granting institution. And then the last thing I'll note are the work that we are doing in concert with our counterparts in the technical college system, a concrete example of trying to find ways to make certain that we are giving seamless opportunities for students to be able to pursue associate degrees and then have bachelor's degree completion options. The goal of that is to avoid any unnecessary duplication of effort, whether that be certificates, associate degrees, or bachelor's degrees. And the boards coordinate, actually taking action between the technical colleges and the university system campuses when a degree expansion occurs that might encroach upon the other. We are very serious about making certain that we work with any colleges, any of the two-year colleges in the state, for articulation of associate degree and bachelor's degree completion options. It is central to who we are under Complete College Georgia and something that we're very committed to and would remain so in working in concert with Georgia Military College to offer their students completion options as well. Thank you.
Representative Holcomb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question. So how do we have our cake and eat it too? Because I'd like to vote yes, but also understand the concerns from the University System of Georgia. Can they be reconciled?
You want to reconcile them today, or you want to reconcile them in the future?
Today.
Today. Well, I can't speak if the Board of Regents is willing to take on the Georgia Military College. I mean, I'm not prepared to answer that today. So I would have to beg off and, ask you to give me some time on that. I mean, you're being called on now to say, does the Georgia Military College need 4-year degrees? And if so, how's it going to be paid for? And if they're not asking for any state money, then is the cost going to be affordable? If they're not asking for state money, what will the student have to pay? And then why, if there's university system programs available in these same communities, why would the student, pay more? Thank you.
Okay, Representative Kidd, you want to come up and, are you through, Representative Holcomb, your question?
Can General Caldwell respond to that?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I think that the key thing to say here is, one is we are not seeking any additional revenue. As you know, 96% of the funds that we operate, we raise ourselves. The state does give us 4% of our funding. That is correct. We do receive some state funding, 4%. But another 96% we raise ourselves. We are not seeking any additional state funding in order to pursue this. This is something students need. Currently, if you go to Milledgeville, there is not a Bachelor of Applied Science coming out of the technical school there. The students can go to in the local area. They'll have to go someplace else. We believe there, in fact, from the study that was done at the technical school, that the respondents, you know, the 450 or so respondents, 380 said, if it were offered, we would absolutely take it because of the affordability to be able to do it here at home, right at this location. In an institution that's already proven they have a real care and respect for helping those who really haven't been afforded opportunities earlier in their life to get through the educational process. We do not want to compete with the regions. If the regions have that already being offered in the local area, there is no need for us to set up the same system. That's the reason you don't see us asking for it at every one of our campuses, because the regions do offer it at some locations already where we are. And therefore, there therefore is not a requirement for it, because the regions can in fact do it cheaper, because they're 100% funded, whereas we are not. We're 4% funded. So where they can do it, we've not asked to do it. Where it does not currently exist, we have asked for the opportunity to be able to give to young men and women in Georgia the chance, the hope, to do something more with their lives than their parents did. And we believe strongly, and this is not a money-making venture for us. You know, if you go into the return on investment, you know, my staff has been very clear to me, this is not something that we want to venture into thinking that this is going to produce some additional income for the school, because it really won't. Our goal and objective is to provide an opportunity. I mean, it truly is what it's about. The fact that we are able to already do it at the associate degree is such an affordable cost, despite not receiving the abundance of state funding that the region schools receive, shows that we work very diligently. But the key is we don't want to compete. We don't need any additional funding. We want to be complementing and being a part of what Georgia wants to do in the Complete College Georgia initiative.
Representative Kidd, you want to go ahead and...
Mr. Chairman, very briefly, if I can. Obviously, being the representative from Baldwin County, which is the home of GMC, and the home of Georgia College, and the home of a technical school in Baldwin County. Obviously, Georgia College and State University supports this program that GMC is asking for, as does the technical school. But there's always been a lot of confusion about GMC being private, being public, whatever. If GMC was under the Board of Regents, we wouldn't be here today. They'd be at the Board of Regents asking for permission to have a Bachelor of Applied Science degree. But because they aren't under the Board of Regents, they have to come to the legislature to ask you permission for them to offer this degree program. And as a constant reminder to the legislators that don't understand this or really realize this, every student that goes to the state school, the school is supplemented by the state to roughly $7,000. The students that go to GMC does not get that money from the state as other schools do. It's predominantly contributions and other sources. So they don't want and can't compete with the Board of Regents in any area. If the Board of Regents is worried about competition, maybe they should be worried about competition. But if they're worried about competition, and you, the legislators, wanted to protect the Board of Regents schools from competition, then you could very easily put in this legislation that GMC would not open a Bachelor of Science degree program, a Bachelor of Applied Science degree program in any town where there is a Board of Regents school that currently offers a Bachelor of Applied Science degree, if they're worried about competition. That'd be a simple way to take care of it, Mr. Chairman, if y'all feel it's necessary.
Okay, we have another question from Representative Williams here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If someone can help me understand, I don't put myself forth as any expert on the HOPE program. I'm working hard to rectify that. I would assume that students in this proposed degree program would be eligible for HOPE assistance. Is that a correct assumption? So if your program is incrementally more expensive, my rough figure is $1,700, I think, and again, I'm still not sure exactly what time period that is, but if your program is any more expensive than a USG public program, would the resulting impact on the HOPE pot of money, if you will, be impacted by that? Would HOPE spend more money for X number of students that are in your program as opposed to X number of students that may be in a university system program?
I'm not sure I can answer that, but I would say that's probably the case. The one thing about HOPE is HOPE pays for tuition and not fees. Now, for the benefit of the students can go to college and have their tuition paid for by HOPE, but when it comes to the fees, and we have very low fees at Georgia Military College, we can compare fees if we want, the students benefit from that. We've had those discussions many times about raising fees and saying no. Our students who come in on HOPE will simply see those fees being a part of what they're having to pay and not a part of the HOPE scholarship. Hope that answered your question. I really can't get to the total impact on the HOPE program.
You know, I could, again, I've always been in the job 90 days, but I would like to almost go back because I wish we had more students perhaps at times that could qualify for the HOPE. But that's not the student that we go after and we're trying to attract. It's not the student who we're trying to give that opportunity to. Those who have the ability to get the HOPE scholarship are normally going to one of the region schools, four-year schools almost, up front. We tend to find those students who've fortunately been able to go back and get a GED through one of the technical school programs that are in place now that are really helping a lot of these young men and women, and with that GED have decided they now want to go on and start pursuing a college degree. And that's kind of where we step in. So I understand your question and the second, third order effects of that, but I think what you'll find, and we could easily go back to our financial office and do the analysis for you, but there just won't be that many that tend to come to Georgia Military College. It's normally those who need open admissions, who need the free tutoring, who need the small class sizes that are going to be at Georgia Military College.
Thank
you. Chairman Smiley?
General, then you still have remediation. You still have, in other words, when the student comes with from an academic perspective, and you're trying to gauge for HOPE or not, then how do you quantify? How do you quantify a student whether or not they will be on the HOPE scholarship? Then after you quantify, what is the retention as it relates to that bucket? What is it? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I could let the dean talk that. 65% of our students entering require remediation.
Okay.
I mean, just to put it in perspective, generally the type of student that we're bringing in initially for the 2-year program. But I'll let the dean talk.
You may have to repeat part of that question. I'm not sure I followed you all the way through.
In order to get HOPE, you have to have some kind of gauge. You have to quantify in order to get it for the standards.
Yes, sir.
And then on the remediation part, if they coming in and he says 65%, I guess the remediation, then they are outside of the stream of the HOPE qualifications.
Those students, yes, sir. Those students that are coming for their 2-year degree now are those
outside.
Are
That's
outside. Yes, sir.
And the ones that are in the formula, how do you determine? How do you quantify that? How do you? They're eligible for HOPE. The ones that qualify.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If that's through our
the regular standard HOPE.
That's through the regular.
I see.
We have no, as an institution, have no control over HOPE, but They fill out their FAFSA work. And
I got you. So the part is then your admission would allow them to come regardless of the SAT or the ACT or the grade point.
Correct.
I see. Okay.
I might mention too that maybe repeat, it might have been lost too, but a lot of times when we talk about cost, we forget sometimes about value. The value to the students and maybe the higher tuition might be a greater opportunity to complete their degree. As I said, our remediation students nationwide, a student coming to an institution for remediation, only 10% of those students graduate. Those students coming to Georgia Military College needing remediation graduate at 20% of those graduate, twice the national average. So that's, once again, I think a good use of the money and adds value.
Okay. Well, thank y'all for your presentation. Appreciate it. And what we'll do, and before, y'all can go ahead and excuse yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank y'all. Anybody else want to speak for or against the bill? We've got about 5 minutes. Anybody? No volunteers? Okay. Okay. We will. I will call the meeting when we vote on the bill. Tom, why don't you and Dr. Davis see if you can't get with me or Representative Alps to see if we can work out some language that you would be satisfied with. Okay. Good. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Thank y'all for attending, and we'll call the meeting soon. Thank you. Thank you for attending.